Okay, hope you all able to see. Today's session is about recovery service part. In a short, we call RSV. What actually RSV is meant for is we are creating the virtual machines, storage accounts, etc. And what is the what if that particular service that particular virtual machine or storage account is not available or the data corrupted due to some reason. Let me tell you why it is really required. For example, we do have a laptop. You're just watching a mobile or laptop. That laptop stores all the data in a disk, hard disk. What if that particular hard disk is crashed? It's possible, right? Electrical goods, anytime it may go vanish, and anytime it may stop functioning. So for that reason, what we do, simply we connect some external hard drive and we copy the data on periodic basis, maybe monthly once, 2 months once, quarterly once. We keep some data in external hard drive. That is what? Backup. Whatever we are doing is a backup. Sometimes photos, etc., everything we back up to the Google Drive, something like that. So we will make that in sync. That is real-time backup. So our backup data will resides in the OneDrive or so, and whatever the new things coming to our mobile, those also fly back to the backup. So these are the concept. Why we are keeping that? Just to make sure we are not missing that, because those are important files. If it is not important, we are not worried about it. If it is important, we have to worry about the backup, because we are dealing with the hardware software combinations. Anytime it may crash, anytime it may not available. So to avoid that issue, to avoid the missing the data, right? So to avoid data loss, that's a real word. So we will depend on recovery service vault in Microsoft Azure. Recovery service vault takes a backup of our data, and it also capable to take backup from the on-premises virtual machines, not only Azure virtual machines. On-premises virtual machines also you can configure to the backup. So this is the thing. But okay, we are taking the backup. What happens if something went wrong and we need to restore, right? We need to take it back up. For example, virtual machine is crashed. We reinstall the operating system. Then what we do? We connect the same USB and put the things back, copy the things back. That's what we do. That's what we call restore. Try to understand. Backup means copying to the other source. Restore means copy back to your destination. Simple. And it's a single solution. Recovery service vault is a single solution that connects with the Azure cloud as well as the hybrid resources. Hybrid resources in the sense data center resources. So I'll tell you another solution. Yeah. Conventional backup approaches. See, what exactly backup? We go little deeper, somewhat deeper. Virtual machine is there. What is the backup? What we call backup? What recovery service will does, right? Recovery service vault takes snapshot. Try to understand. Recovery service vault takes a snapshot of a disk. For example, virtual machine having 3 different disks, 1 OS disk and 2 data disks. So recovery service vault takes these 3 disk snapshots and store temporary time like 1 day, 2 day in the cloud, and it will move to the recovery service vault as the once 2 days completed, 3 days, we can configure that whether it will be 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, right? So we can configure that. I'll show you. But it will stay in the cloud for the instant restore purposes. Once that 3 days is done, it will move to the recovery service vault. So eventually what it's actually doing, it is taking the snapshot, disk snapshot. If a virtual machine having three different snapshots will be taken, those 3 different snapshots will be moved to the recovery service vault. This is what happening, right? So, okay, if it is only a snapshot, why we are worrying about it? We can also create some automation account, right? So every night we can create some, we can create a schedule. We can mention whatever the virtual machines really needed. We can tag those virtual machines. Backup is equals to yes, isn't it? We can create additional tag for the where there is backup requirements. Those virtual machines will add one more tag. Backup is equals to yes, right? So if we do that, what happens? Automation account will go each and every night. It will find what are all the virtual machines really need to backup by filtering the tag. Where there is backup is equals to yes, it will take the disk snapshot. Very simple method. It will take disk snapshot and that will be finished, isn't it? No, we can do, but I'll explain you the problems. You have to maintain storage accounts yourself. You have to watch the utilization. You have to manually check whether it is failing or happening, right? It's just not creating an automation account. You have to worry whether it is successfully happening or not, right? Additional infrastructure, right, required. So, and no central management. We don't have any central management, like there is no board like these many snapshots completed, these many snapshots are failed. So this will lead to data loss. Try to understand. This will lead to data loss. Why? Because I do have 10 virtual machines. All those 10 are production virtual machines. Daily, I have tagged backup is equals to yes, automation account is going on, and due to some reason, I missed to watch whether it is happening daily basis or not. Okay, you configured some email mechanism also. If automation account fails due to some reason, you will receive the email also, for example. So these are manual things. It will send the email, but who needs to watch? Who needs to monitor? Right? For me, it's me. For example, I'm on vacation for 10 days. It happens. Some people go months also, right? So during that time, even whatever the mails that you are receiving, that goes, no one is going to attend that, right? So for example, it is configured for a group, not only single person. Even there are chance that people miss. If the situation is like at the same time, right? Some virtual machine backup, virtual machine 02, for example, if we have 10, virtual machine 02 is failed. Unfortunately, those snapshots are missed. What happens? The data loss. So we can create custom scripts or automation accounts to do this particular fulfillment. But 2 different things we have to worry. Need to manage infrastructure, no central management. And this is about custom script. Another thing is third-party backup software. Not only recovery service vault, this is third-party backup software. Here the problem is you have to install backup software in a virtual machine in Azure, and that virtual machine is dedicated only for the backups. Point number 1. And you have to manage the infrastructure. What is the infrastructure? It's like virtual machine disk, and storage account. Everything you have to manage as per the third-party backup software, right? So some central management will be available, but overhead is like infrastructure management. If something went wrong, so we have to definitely we have to care about the infrastructure, whether VM is working fine, VM is accessible, is it taking the backups, etc., etc. How about the storage? Is storage is near to the 5 terabyte? etc., etc. We have to worry all those things. So these are the two available options, but I'm just saying because we have to know it. We are not going to use it, but we have to know it. So Azure backup architecture is this. Simple backup service will be there, recovery service vault will be there. So you no need to maintain any infrastructure. It's an enterprise scale that you can scale up, scale down anytime, and extensible. You can add much more, how many you want, and central management is possible with the recovery service vault. So it's a simple solution for the on-premises as well as cloud. So see here, there is on-premises environment. Those virtual machines, also the virtual machines in the cloud, both are able to communicate with the recovery service vault manager, and the snapshots will be taken and it's stored in the backup. Whenever you want, the restore things will happen based on the requirement. So, and recovery service vault, some crucial settings, storage redundancy of recovery service vault. So the possibility is geo-redundant storage can be created and local redundant storage can be created. One note here, whatever the configuration, right? So whether it is a geo-redundant, whether it is a locally redundant, anything you have to configure before you enable first backup. Try to understand. If the service is created and no backups has been enabled for any virtual machine or storage account or SQL server, right? So before to that, you have to change. If you want to change the setting, you can change. Once any backup is enabled, you can't change the settings. For example, it is locally redundant is configured and you want to go for the geo redundant. No, it is not possible. So before enabling the first backup, you have to change this particular setting. So this is about security for the backups. So the protection is like you can have a security pin for multiple layer of authentication is possible, and disk encryption is also supported for the backups, and hybrid encryption and storage side encryption also supported. And additional thing, RBAC, we can enforce role-based access control for this particular backup, backup data. Whatever the backup data is, people, you can literally segregate who can see, who cannot see, who can perform so and so action, who's not allowed, who's allowed, etc., etc. And this is about protect in alert. You can have portal-based alerts for the critical operations, and we can have email notifications that we get. I think I have to prepare the, just a moment, even we have 3 more slides, right? Just a moment, bear with me. I have to prepare the environment. Enabling backup will take some 30 minutes. I forgot to run this particular. So automation account. Yeah. This will create a virtual machine and a recovery service vault, and it will enable backup automatically. Let that happen, right? So, but I'll show you end to end, nothing to worry. This is just to enable virtual machine backup. It will take some time. That's why I'm running this, leave it. So, yeah, alert, you can get 2 different alerts. Portal based alerts. In the portal, you can get the alerts as well, and email notification also you will receive for the critical actions, availability of the backup data, etc., etc. And recover recover options, store deleted data on the cloud for additional 14 days is possible, and just like soft delete, if you remember. and recover using alternative servers in case of original server is unavailable. For example, I have VM1 and VM2. I'm taking the backup every day. I configured recovery service vault to take backups every day midnight 12 a.m. for example. So what happens is VM1 is there, VM2 due to some reason it is not available now. Try to understand. This is not available now. Even you can create same server with same settings from recovery service vault. Or if you want as a different server, you can configure that as well. So very much simple. You can create brand new virtual machine out of the backup. Simple. Not only disk, even virtual machine can be created. So Azure VM disk encryption. Yes, it is. I think we completed the disk encryption, right? How that works actually. So VM will be encrypted with the BitLocker encryption key, and that resides in Azure cloud. So communication between sync between virtual machine and the key always resides as it is. And for example, if you enable backup of this particular virtual machine, then what happens? All the disks, for example, 3 disks are there, all 3 disks will be backed up in recovery service vault. They will store in recovery service vault. Also, a reference to the BitLocker encryption key will also stored in recovery service vault. Whenever you are restoring this particular disk, what happens is it will restore with the setting of the key vault as well. So it is possible to restore without any issues. Even a virtual machine is encrypted. So this is just access control, how we can really differentiate, how we can manage the RVAC in recovery service vault. For example, there are two different vaults, HR vault and finance vault. So if a person is only need to access HR vault, yes, I can give him only access on the HR. Even in HR, we can create multiple roles like view all. So view all with enable backup and restore. So initial backup reader, what he does is he can see the backup, whether backups are happening, any errors, anything, etc., etc. That's what he can see. Whereas backup operator can restore the backups, enable the backups, and view all the backups. And third role, backup contributor. Contributor can do all the things which backup reader and backup operator does. Additionally, policy management and delete or stop backups also can be done by backup contributor. It's up to you which person you want to do what level of actions at the recovery service. And monitoring and reporting. So you can see how the storage consumption is really utilized, and is my backups are healthy or not? Is there any failure backups, right? So and also I can see trends in my system, right? Trends in the sense, what will be the future? If this is the case, what will be my utilization? What will be my virtual machine count, etc., etc., in the future? Something like we can also have a look. So now, yeah, this created a virtual machine and recovery service vault. This enabled the backup as well. No problem, leave it. We configure all together, then we go to that. So first, recovery service vault. Type recovery service vault. Create. This is created by automation account. Don't worry about it. Create I think this is created in production, not a problem. We create in dev. So resource group, backup RG01 and RSV02, for example. Let's take West Europe. That's it. Simply, this is what you give. You will create a subscription, you will create a resource group and a recovery service vault name, in which region you want to store this particular recovery service vault. Next is tags, next is review complete. Oh, let me create it. See, default backup configuration for storage replication type is geo-redundant. So I'll show you where we can change it. So this is what recovery service vault, where you can have the identity. I think I told you when I actually demonstrate RBAC, role-based access control. We do have identities. We can create identity for this particular service as well. Service itself a user. So in that concept, you can create identity and private endpoint connections. You can create private endpoints even for the recovery service vault. Then what happens is it will able to transfer the data, right? So because even this is PaaS service, same applies. Whatever we discussed yesterday, same applies here also. If you want to transfer data using the private networking, you can create a private endpoint and you can configure that. Simple. Same applies. You can click on create. You can literally select what you want, etc., etc. You can select the resource. You can connect, select the configuration, and review create. That's it. So that particular private endpoint will be created, and whatever the snapshots that are coming to the recovery service vault will come through. I mean, it comes through private networking. So that's what the same concept. It not changes anything. And the properties. These are the properties. Some which you need to look in. So status is active, and subscription name, subscription ID, resource group, and diagnostic settings. If you want to configure diagnostic settings, yeah, I think I'll cover this diagnostic setting in the monitoring. So for now, leave it. Yeah. So these are the backup configurations, encryption settings, security pin, right? I told you we can put some pin as well for the backups for the additional security. So and other one is recovery service vault agent. I'll tell you why this is needed. So first backup configuration, let's click on that. Let's see what. This is what I told, whether it is locally redundant or geo-redundant. Even the cost is based on the type which you chose, right? So even if you enable geo-redundant, right? Even cross-region restore, you can enable or disable. Cross-region restore. For example, I do have West Europe and North Europe. If I enabled geo-redundant setting here and I enable cross-region restore also, then what happens is, if one of my virtual machine is not available in the West Europe, not a problem. I can restore in the West Europe. If I want, I can restore in the North Europe also. That is what the configuration, cross-region restore. And locally redundant is okay for me. But you can test it out, it's not an issue. But whatever you plan, before enabling first backup, please enable this. That's what backup settings and encryption settings. So if you want to keep, right, if you want to use your own key, this is what you have to give the key URL. You have to give like manage identity, what manage identity you are going to give. Is it a system or user assigned? And this will go and get the information inside this key URI. Two things happening here, right? So one thing, enter keyword URI or select keyword, select from keyword, right? Two things are here. In this case, we have to give the key URL, whatever the key, BYOK, if you remember the name, right? That particular key have a URL in the properties. You can give that key URL or you can select manually, select from keyword, etc. Like this, you can select, I don't have any, but like this, you can select the keyword and that will be configured. And even to get the get sync with the keyword, you have to give the identity, whatever the identity which you provided the recovery service for, you can give. I'll tell you why this is needed, right? I'll tell you. If virtual machine is encrypted and you enable the recovery service vault, I mean you enable the backup, you no need this configuration. If you are worrying, virtual machines are not encrypted. If you are worrying about the place where the recovery service vault put your data, you concerned about it, then configure configure encryption for the recovery service vault data. The encryption is for the recovery service vault data only, right? So after completion of the backup, it will encrypt. After completion of each and every backup, it will encrypt. That's what the scenario. So if any virtual machines in our environment enabled with the encryption, this is really not required. And I'll tell you, this will not be enabled by any customer. I never saw this for sure. If in future someone asked you to do, you should be in a position to do. That's what I'm explaining here. So yeah, and next one is security settings. Soft delete, right? So you can enable the soft delete or disable the soft delete. I told you 14 days will be the default time for each and every backup if accidentally deleted. If you enable soft delete, what happens is it will be deleted but not the permanent deletion. That's what. So this is what backup data retain 14 days after delete option. Simple. So if you don't want, disable it. So security pin, if you want to configure security pin for this particular, whatever the backups, you can literally generate a pin, and so this pin expires at so and so time. After the time, so and so after that time, it will be refreshed automatically, right? So pin will be expired. So whatever the pin that we are putting, that has some expiry, and it will regenerate again for the security reasons. It's not like same pin for the all the time, right? You can get it anytime, but so
Sir,
recovery service, yeah.
sir, where
Yeah.
will use this security pin, sir? So before taking the backup or before restoring, or where?
The restoring procedure. Yeah.
Okay. So while restoring, we use this security
Yes.
pin.
Yes. It's like password or short password, something.
Okay.
Yeah. Even the lifetime is very small, right? So each and every time you have to come here, you have to generate a pin, and you will take this pin and you will, Azure backup will be prompted for the pin, and that will be, I'll show you, not a problem. So when it is prompted, we have to give this pin. That's it. So see, whatever the pin earlier and pin now is different. So the button here is generate, right? We are not saying old pin at all. Each and every time, brand new pin for the security reason. It should not be like I give 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I keep that for lifetime. It's really not a security, right? Yeah. And recovery service agent. If you want to configure the backup for the on-premises environment, first you will download this agent and you will install inside. You will install inside the virtual machines or on-premises servers, and you enable the backup. So if you want, you can do this, and it will download the agent. But I don't want that. So logs. Am I explained logs before? This is a common setting for each and every service. Okay, we'll take in the other service, but anytime we can do. Okay, so next thing is backup, recovery. Backup in the sense configuring your virtual machines to the backup. Site recovery is something like you configure the backups on the recovery site. For example, West Europe, we configure our backups in North Europe, site recovery. So in another site, we configure the backups. For now, we'll see only the backups. Recovery, will cover it later. Today, we are only concentrating the backup. So to enable the backup, this is what you have to select which virtual machine. I mean, is it Azure, on-premises, etc., etc. You have to select it, and the type, is it virtual machine, file share, SQL Server in Azure virtual machine, SAP HANA in Azure virtual machine, etc. Select that and backup. Click on the backup, then it will redirect you. You have to select some policy, enable the backup, add the virtual machine, right? You have to add the virtual. I don't have any virtual machine. I'll create one. But once you select the virtual machine, click OK. Once you select the virtual machine, click OK, and the backup will be enabled. Let's create. Before to that, what we have to do is we have to create a policy. What exactly a policy? Policy is nothing but it is a scheduler. I want daily backups on 12 a.m. I want weekly backups on Sunday night. I want monthly backups on every month first. And I want yearly backup on so and so date, right? So this is what all the settings will be prepared using backup policies. First thing, add a policy, add, and virtual machine, select your type, and policy name, daily VM backup policy 01, and backup schedule. How we want to take the backup? Daily backup, weekly backup. No, daily backup generally. And what time? 12 a.m. Why I am keep on saying 12 a.m., 12 a.m., 12 a.m.? Why? Because when our business is in very peak situation, we don't enable the backups at that time. Try to understand. If my business time is morning 9 a.m. to evening 5 p.m., so all the servers will be in very peak situation. They are in the production, they are serving the clients, they are fully utilized. If you put this backup burden also on the same time, no, it really doesn't give any meaning, right? So we should not over utilize the resources for this particular backup purposes. For that the reason, generally each and every customer, they will do this in the midnight, maybe 11 p.m., 12 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., something like that. They'll fix one time, and that time the backups will be enabled. It's additional burden, right? We don't want to give additional burden to the virtual machines on the production time. So that's what. And select your time, whatever the time you want, whether it is India or anything else. For example, Eastern time. Select it and instant restore. Yeah, this is what I told. Retain instant recovery snapshot for 2 days. Retain instant recovery snapshot for 2 days. What this particular thing actually does is, for example, I have a virtual machine with 2 different disks. I configured a backup policy with retain instant recovery snapshot is 2, and I applied this particular policy. Then what happens is, it will take the backup today midnight 12 a.m. Eastern time. It will take a backup and it will not move to the recovery service vault. It will keep as it is. Tomorrow night also it will take additional snapshot and it will keep that snapshot in cloud. Please try to understand that will keep a snapshot in cloud. And then what happens is, why we are keeping that snapshot in cloud? First of all, to have instant restore. Instant restore in the sense, from cloud restore, whatever snapshot resides in the cloud and we are trying to restore that, it will happen in minutes. On the third day, if again one more backup is taken, means first day backup, first day snapshot will go to recovery service vault. That will be moved to recovery service vault, pass service. If you want that, you have to spend 1 hour. You have to wait 1 hour, 1.5 hours based on the size. If it is 1 terabyte disk, you have to wait literally half day. For that the reason, we keep instant restores. I mean, we keep some snapshots for the instant restore. Generally, these settings will be somewhat 5 or 3. That's it. So maximum 1 to 5 you can keep here, at least one, maximum 5 days you can keep. So that's what. And retention range, by default daily snapshot should be there, and whatever the time you give here, that will be applied at 12 a.m. Eastern time. Your virtual machine will be taken backup, and how many days you want to keep that backup. Try to understand. Generally, customers will store this for 90 days, or some customers will store longer time. But what happens if I configure 90? What happens? Today one backup will be enabled, tomorrow one, after day after tomorrow, etc., etc. Like that, 90 days, right? 89th day, midnight, it will take additional snapshot. That means 90 is completed. Tomorrow, additional one more backup will be taken, and my first backup will be deleted. Please try to understand. If I mention 90, today is 91st day, means my first day backup will be deleted, and tomorrow additional one more backup will be taken, and second backup will be deleted. So in final, there will be total back of 90 days, right? If you go to the calendar days back, 90 days backup also is available for you. The maximum 90 days backup will be available for you. Past 90 days, simple, very simple word, last 90 days. So this is what daily backup. And weekly, if you want to store the weekly, so and so time, for how many weeks you want to keep, you can keep. And monthly backup, right? So it's like you want to like on first, on etc., right? I'll generally configure day based, and it will keep for some 30. And every month first, the backup will be enabled, and this also there for 30 days. That's what. So retention of yearly, if you want to see day based, January 1st. So how many years you want to keep? This is what. This is what the configuration created. So this is like a scheduler. Very simple, as simple as that. This is like a scheduler. This scheduler will be configured. Okay, this is what?
Sir, Rajesh, sir, is there any limitations on daily backups, weekly or monthly or yearly backups? So, any limitations?
Limitation in the sense, I don't get you.
Like, suppose I want to keep 10 years old data, so like that, 10 years monthly or 15 years yearly, so that maximum count.
Okay, that maximum count you want. Okay, see, let me tell you. See, 9999 also taken, right? The maximum 729999.
9,000. Okay.
So 9999 days is maximum you can go for. That's it. First thing, and you asked, let me take 9 here, let it be. And retention for weekly, how many weeks you can literally go is, I put some 0, yeah, 1 to 5163 weeks you can go maximum, but no one will ask you for sure. No one will ask you.
Okay.
And
So just for curiosity, just
how to apply
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah,
So
Shankar.
this is
How to apply charges monthly? Any difference? Or
it's
same
based on the
charges?
storage. It's based on the storage. Whatever the storage you are storing, and that's a cost. That's it.
So cannot maintain monthly days like this. Only storage based charges, right?
Yes, storage utilization based hourly. Its billing is based on minute based. Sorry, yes, minute based,
Thank you.
not hourly even. Yeah, each and every minute, what is your utilization? That particular bill will be generated. So and you pay monthly. Definitely, you pay monthly. So it's a monthly bill. So and yearly, you asked something about yearly also. Yeah. Come on, what happened? I go for the bigger. Yeah. 1 to 99 years. I think that's what maximum. Even we don't know we'll be there till that, right? So this is what maximum. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. So this is what 7 to 9999 and 1 to 5163 and 1 to 1188 and 1 to 99. That's it. So this is what the backup policy that we created, and we'll apply that. First, we'll create a virtual machine. For example, VM02, sorry, create a virtual machine. VM02. No, I don't want to demonstrate now. I think this will take for sure more than half an hour. No, I will postpone this to tomorrow. No, I don't want to start even because tomorrow I have to restart again. Okay, so is there any doubt so far? The flow, we created a recovery service vault, we created some policy, and now we will create a virtual machine and enable the backup. And tomorrow what we do is, it's not only enable backup, we will restore the backup. From restore, we can restore as a disk, restore as a virtual machine, and we create new virtual machine, we create new disk, etc., etc. There are many things. Tomorrow is full 1 hour demonstration on recovery service vault. So are we clear so far?
Sir, so I have
Yeah.
doubt on encryption. So
Yeah.
VM level, we have a disk encryption and we have a key vault. So when we do a backup, so the key vault configuration along with that VM and disk all will be backed up. So when we try
Yes.
to restore, the same configuration will be restored, right? So the key
Yes,
configuration.
yes, obviously.
Okay, so in our session, so explain something encryption level. So I have a doubt about it. That time I would have asked, but you moved. So can you please explain that encryption part in the backup?
Encryption. Okay, let me tell you. That thing is. Let me go here. So, sorry.
Yeah.
Encryption settings are, see, by default, right? So whatever the data going through the recovery service port is encrypted. Let me give you a straight example like storage account. Storage account also by default it is encrypted in the rest, right? In Microsoft Azure backend, it is encrypted by default. You no need to worry about it. Even many customers, they don't really trust, right? Even you trust if someone doing some security for us, right? So based on their wish, they do that. We don't trust someone is giving some security for us. If we are configured something for us as a security point of view, then we are very comfortable. Same applies here. At the rest, even for the recovery service vault, the data is the data is encrypted. Microsoft literally saying they released white papers, everything. It is encrypted. But customers will not rely on that. They want their own security aspect. So for that, so if you want your own encryption, Microsoft supports that. You can create additional key, right? You can create additional encryption key and you can configure that particular key here. Whatever the taking snapshots, that will be encrypted with your key. Whatever the key you are providing new key, right? That will be encrypted. Simple.
Okay. Got it.
Additional, simple.
Okay. So that means when we are taking a backup, the backup will be encrypted.
Yes.
Okay.
With
So,
your key, with your own key.
Okay. Suppose if I want to use Microsoft Azure key means.
No, that's what the key, right? This is what. Okay. You're saying if you want to avail this from the Microsoft.
Yes. Yeah. Correct.
Not your own key, Microsoft.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. By what? By default, it is encrypted using Microsoft managed keys. Who managing it? Microsoft managing it. They won't show you anyway. But that's the reason we configure with our managed keys.
Okay. Clear, sir. Yeah.
Okay, then see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
Bye.